Then I remember that when I was 3, I told my mom that my babysitter had touched my vagina in the bath. And my mom thought I was lying, obviously, and probably I was. It's like whether I was lying or whether I was telling the truth, something's broken inside of me.
Right. Yeah, I once let a boy give me a hand job when I was 9.
Well, I think that's pretty different because you let him, and this wasn't my choice.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Girls. We're just two boys watching HBO's Girls, giving our thoughts on it. We are your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I'm Vance.
And boy, did we just get through an episode. We just watched Season 2, Episode 5, titled One Man's Trash. Directed by Richard Shepard, written by Lena Dunham, original air date February 10th, 2013. Big spike in viewers from the last episode. Last episode had about 500,000. This one has 0.745 million, 700,000. 745,000. Dude, this episode. This episode took a lot out of me.
0.7 million? Is that what you're saying?
0.745.
Okay.
46.
Okay. This is a doozy of an episode.
This is a trying time.
This is
an episode that this is the episode that famously your wife stopped watching this show after watching this episode.
Yes. and my wife kept bringing up the topless ping pong scene, and I was just like, I don't think that's enough to break you. And I don't think that's what broke her.
No. There's no way that could have broke. But
But the episode is one where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm not on board with this character's journey.
Yeah.
I'm with it. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe I just don't care.
I was watching this, and even before the ping pong started happening,
Yeah.
I kept saying to you, I was just being like, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is terrible. And then the ping pong happened, and I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense as to
like
why a person would stop watching this show after this episode, because this episode is fucking exhausting.
Here's a crazy thing. I just met up with a friend yesterday. I was telling him about the podcast, and she tells me, "Oh yeah, the writing is better in season 2, and like there's one of the better episodes is the one with like the neighbor in the trash." And I was like, "Oh, I don't think I've seen that one yet. Are you talking about the guy when they do coke?" She's like, "No, you'll know it when you see it." And then the episode opens. It's the trash episode. I'm like, oh, this is the episode that's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
And then the topless ping pong happens. I'm like, oh my God, this is the episode that broke my wife. So it's like one of those things where I got like
these two conflicting ideas about this episode.
Yeah.
It's very polarizing.
And
episode.
this is on par with Hannah going back home, just because it's only Hannah.
It's
episode.
only Hannah.
But this is
a little bit of Ray.
This is more of a bottle episode because they're literally just like in the apartment the whole time, more or less.
I felt trapped.
Oh yeah,
watching this, like I felt like I was being quarantined with them, and it made me anxious. Like I know that's like we're just watching a stupid TV show and reviewing it.
I mean, that's the feeling of.
But
TV
watching it gave me anxiety.
Yeah. For me, and we'll dive into like the episode.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna dive into this.
Unload. The thing for me was just like anytime these situations happen, I'm always like intrigued by because Hannah and the girls have been like, you know, they've had their issues, and you're kind of like, okay, whatever. But when they run into these people that like do what they do, like, and this guest star is Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Playing Joshua.
Who I really like Patrick Wilson as an actor.
I like him as an actor. I like him as an actor. Yeah.
From the Conjuring universe and Insidious.
And Aquaman.
Well, that was my first exposure to him was Insidious, and I was like, oh, I like this guy. He's he's like a classically trained opera singer?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's a fucking amazing singer, dude.
Wow. I think I knew about him with the All the Children movie or something. It's some movie that I don't think I've seen, but I think the first thing I saw him in was Watchmen.
He was in Watchmen?
Yeah. Yeah, the movie, not the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to...
Yeah, he's in Zack Snyder's Watchmen. I think that's the first thing I've seen him in, but I probably saw him in other stuff not knowing it was him.
Here's what I have to say. I don't want to take anything away from the performances of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
They were great.
Yeah.
Lena Dunham killed it.
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson killed it.
Yeah.
Even Ray's killing it. The other...
Yeah, Ray goes from 0 to 100 with no real...
no real reason.
Yeah.
But...
I got some Ray comments.
Yeah. Turns out Ray was right to be yelling at Patrick Wilson because he didn't know and it wasn't him.
No, Ray wasn't right.
Why wasn't he right?
Because...
Let's just get into it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So this
episode
episode starts with Ray and Hannah debating what the definition of the term sexit is, because Hannah thinks that she made up a term.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, it's called a sexit. And Ray was like, what? Like when you get up and leave in the middle of sex? And she's like, no, that's not my definition of a sexit. That doesn't make sense. A sexit to me is when you're at like a party and you're like, hey, let's leave to go have sex. Let's make a quick sexit. Mm-hmm. Then Ray looks it up on Urban Dictionary, and it's what Ray thought. Yeah. And she was like, well, I've never heard anyone say that. And so I'm going to disregard it. And I think my definition's better, basically.
Did she say that part? Or that
no, but that's just, I don't know. Dude, I'm putting all kinds of, I'm putting my own feelings about her.
I think she just stood there like, oh, I guess I don't.
She did say like, I never heard anyone say that before.
And then I think she's just like downtrodden for it. But
it's also called a French exit, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. And I just can't help like think of Brexit when I just
me too.
It's like, oh man, yeah.
So this is the point where everything starts to get going. Like there's like 2 minutes of idle chatter, and then fucking shit ramps up like crazy. Patrick Wilson comes in, very calm. He's like, hey, I'm your neighbor, and you guys have been like putting your trash into my trash can, and I just would like it if you would kind of stop. He's being very cordial, very polite, being like, hey, please don't do that.
Yeah. All you have to say is like, we'll look into that and we'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. And Ray just immediately starts sassing him, being like, well, I don't know what you're talking about because none of my employees would do that.
I personally trained
all of these, even her. And it was, you can ask her, it was real fucking hard and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, man, I don't know what you're so upset about. All I'm asking, like, I know that you're putting your trash. And Ray's like, how? He's like, it's coffee grounds. It's you old pastries. It's mail to your fucking place. Yeah. I know it's yours. Yeah. Please stop doing it.
He's like, we wouldn't do this. We have dumpsters. I don't know why we would do this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like, this guy's not making up that you guys' trash is in his trash can.
Yeah.
Like, that's something, like, I don't even think a crazy, like, homeless person would stumble in with that kind of excuse. I think that seems too, like, rational. Like, and Ray's, like, flipping out, like, how dare you at my establishment? And I'm like...
He starts, like, cussing at him.
Yeah.
There's customers there.
Yeah, like...
He's, like, yelling.
He always yells with customers there. Like, he yelled at Barney.
Why would anyone go to this coffee place?
It's good coffee.
It's just the most miserable manager just screaming at people that come in.
How is he the manager, too? Like, apparently he's a manager at a coffee shop that has no money or something. Like, it's weird. That's... Whatever.
Yeah, he's homeless.
Yeah, but, like, he's not just a barista. He's not, like, he's not Hannah in this situation. Yeah. Like, he's running employees.
Dude, I don't know.
But I think you said in the beginning that you think that Ray was justified in what he was saying.
Yeah, because it wasn't him putting it in.
But the guy never accused him of being the one that did it.
That's true. But he doesn't know that it's going in there.
Well,
but
he has to.
He could have said.
He could just look at Hannah's face. So it's obviously Hannah's the biggest tell on her.
Hannah's standing behind all of this while the fucking kerfuffle is happening, and she's just looking like,
Yeah. She's looking as guilty as ever.
Not saying a word, though.
And she's like, well, Ray, actually... And he cuts her off. It's one of those things that, like, they do in TV shows.
Yeah.
And, like, sitcoms do that a lot, where it's a miscommunication and the person's trying to, like, confess, and the other person just talks over them for no reason. And, yeah, I was just like, oh, boy, obviously she did it. And then he's, like, still yelling. I'm like, just say, okay, I'll look into it. And the guy will walk away. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just ask
say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll look into that.
And then ask every employee, are you doing this? They'll lie and say no. And because you brought it up, they'll probably not do it again.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that works.
So simple.
No reason to, like, yell in a coffee shop full of customers.
Yeah.
And it threatens to turn off the Wi-Fi after they leave.
Yeah.
But before that happens...
Before that, Patrick Wilson's saying, like, well, I know that you guys have fucking shows here, and you serve liquor, and you're not allowed to because you don't have a liquor license. And then Ray's like, a cop comes here. He was sitting in the third row the last time. You know why? Because he fucking loves this place. And he likes to play body drums.
Body percussion.
He likes to do ham boning. That's what that's called, where you do, as Ray called it, corporeal drumming.
Yeah.
Actually called ham boning.
Okay. You mean banging on your chest?
Yeah. Where you're just rhythmically like...
Okay.
So then he storms out.
Yeah.
Ray is pissed. Hannah's like, why did you freak out on that guy? And he's like, 'cause he's a fucking asshole. He calls him a meatball.
Is that what he said? Yeah.
He called him a meatball.
Okay.
And then Hannah's like, you know what? This is a toxic work environment. I am out of here. And Ray's like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
And she's like, yep, I'm out of here.
And I was like, did she just quit
Yeah.
over something she caused?
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. Like, that whole situation just... And I thought this was going to have something to do with, like, Ray was flipping out because of, like, something going on with Shoshana or something. You know, like, I thought there might be a reason that he took offense to this more so than, like...
Yeah.
Because he can't do this when any complaint comes up. Because he wouldn't be manager that long. Especially in this neighborhood.
Yeah, dude,
So, like,
this is so unreasonable and so over the top and just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then Hannah quits, and she is the one who has been doing this. Cosby voice. Awful. Ugh, Cosby. Ugh,
Yeah, I don't know why you
not
went
in
Cosby.
20 fucking.
I also don't know why. I also don't know
Not
why.
these days, baby.
I don't know why Cosby started coming out.
I don't know either, but fucking, I hate this episode.
This episode has a lot of. Well,
I feel like we're gonna need to take breaks.
Let's just
like getting through this.
There's gonna be some long sides on your part, I'm sure.
There'll be some on your part too. I feel like,
yeah.
So anyway, she leaves. She walks up to Patrick Wilson's house. How did she know where he lived?
Because she's been throwing the trash there.
Yeah, but
do you
she
mean?
said that she's been throwing it everywhere.
Yeah, but she started there.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
So she
whatever.
goes to
She
his
knows.
house. She knocks on his door.
She was just gonna knock on every trash drop door that she went to.
She goes to his house, knocks on the door, and and Patrick Wilson's like, hello? She's like, hi. He's like, do I know you?
And I was like, what the
It's
fuck?
like, bro, you were just at the coffee shop.
Like, you interacted with her. It wasn't like she was just behind you. Like, she, waved, said hi. Like, she's wearing the exact same outfit. It's been 5 minutes.
Ray literally was like, ask her, pointed to her. Patrick Wilson turned to her, looked at her, gave her a up and down, and then turned back. It's like, you've seen this person before.
You're a doctor? Like, how do you deal with patients? Like, hey, what are you in here for? I was just in the other room. I was just in the waiting room. Like,
So I guess if he doesn't have a chart on every single person that he interacts with, he just immediately forgets them.
that was the weirdest moment. Like, who do I know you?
God.
But
and then,
it's so weird that he like invites her in. She says she has to
well,
speak
she's
to
like,
him.
I need to talk to you about something. It's like, okay. And then she's just kind of standing there. And he's like, do you want to come in? And she's like, I don't know. That's kind of dangerous for me to come into a stranger's house. And, you know, you kind of have this Ted Bundy vibe or whatever where I'm probably going to get murdered. And But, Ted Bundy probably didn't have a brownstone, so I'll come in. And then she, like, crawls in.
She, like, goes under his arm because he got the arm up holding the door. I'm like, what is happening? Why did he invite her in?
Also, I hate to be this guy, but her outfit's fucking awful. It's not flattering to her at all. She just looks bad. She looks bad, dude.
It's just very like tight. Well, even when she's walking up, she's like pulling the wedgie because it's like
she pulls the wedgie out.
It's one of those ones that if you walk like a block in it, it's gonna start wedging up.
Well, she pulled a wedgie out as she's walking up the stairs, and then while she's at the door, it's a close-up shot of just like behind her, and she has a massive fucking wedgie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that outfit is just gonna ride. It's gonna ride up. It's just gonna ride up.
So bad. She looks so bad.
Yeah. But fashion aside, him inviting her in was just like, why?
Yeah, 2 seconds ago, you were like, do I know you? And then he's like, I need to talk to you about something. Yeah. Sure, you want to come in?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You know what she's got to talk to you about. She just walked over from the coffee shop, the place you were just complaining.
Yeah.
What do you think she's talking? What do you think she's going to talk to you about?
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
So it takes, and he goes in, she talks about how nice his place is, yada, yada, yada.
This place is super nice.
Yeah, she got a nice little brownstone, but...
It's got a piano.
Yeah.
Really nice place.
But it takes her forever to really just get it out.
He offers her a glass of lemonade, and she takes him up on that offer.
But then it takes her forever to say, and then she eventually comes out and just says, yeah, the trash in your trash can, I'm the one that did it, and I just liked doing it, and that then she gives her reason. Like she said, she was like, it started there, and then she started going other places, but she gives her reasoning was because she lost the dumpster key, and she didn't want to have to deal with Ray, so she just started dumping it far enough, but not too far away from the coffee shop.
And then she started to just enjoy the rush of dumping trash because she knew it was wrong.
Yeah. And now in the title, hearing the title, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, she's the garbage, and he's the one that, I guess at this point, he's seeing her not as garbage. It's one of those, this episode has a lot of the Lena Dunham person behind Hannah stuff in it, where it's like a lot of episodes have people saying, no, you're smart, you're sexy, you're beautiful, and then inside she's always like, I hate myself, kind of thing. And it's this thing that I feel like the show battles with. It's her like love of self and hate of self, you know? Like you can be very cocky and self-conscious at the same time, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Believe me, I know, Vance. Oh, I know. I fucking have 2 podcasts. I hate myself.
You are the worst.
Check out the Dating is Hard podcast.
We've already said that you're Hannah. We already.
Oh no,
we've talked about this before. There's times where like you've had.
Yeah. Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't.
Of the 4 girls.
Of the 4 girls. Yeah, I'm not a Marnie, really.
Yeah, we're not really uptight.
Yeah, I'm not Shoshana. I'm not that, like, aloof.
Yeah.
I'm not Jessa.
You know what's horrible? Is I feel like I'm a mix of Hannah and Jessa.
Yeah, you are. No, you've mentioned stories that are very on par with them. Yeah. Your favorite people.
I hate Jessa.
Yeah, I don't think I'm any of the girls. I don't think I fit into their archetypes.
If you had to pick one or a combination of 2.
I would go Marnie, Shoshana, so I could fall in the middle of that weirdness. Okay. Yeah.
So you're a Moshana or a Sharni.
Sharni.
I'm a Hessa or Jana.
You're Jana, yeah.
Jana.
All right.
Anyway, so she confesses to the trash. She confesses to doing the trash. She's like, I'm sorry. You probably hate me. And then she starts to walk away. She still has this glass of lemon. She's like, oh, this is your cup, which is very nice. And like everything you own is very nice. And you're whatever. And then they're just like kind of blankly staring at each other. And then she moves in and kisses him.
And you kind of see it coming. And you're just like, no.
Yeah. So then she does it. And she's like, oh my God. I'm so sorry that I kissed you. That's so inappropriate. You probably feel so violated right now. And then he moves in and kisses her.
And I really thought after he kissed her, because the look on his face was just like, what an interesting person.
Yeah.
Like this weird little person. I thought he was going to be like a therapist and just be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just meet me in my office tomorrow and just like have a therapy session with her? Like I felt like that was going to happen.
That's what needs to happen.
But instead he kisses her and like lifts her up onto the counter and they're going at it.
They're going at it.
And
she asks him he asks her what her name is, and she goes, guess, which I fucking hate.
Oh, it was like the worst.
Which I fucking hate. And he goes, Daisy? And she goes, ha ha ha.
I thought that was close.
No, I wish that my name was Daisy. What's your name? And he's like, Joshua. And then she never tells him her name until after they're done fucking.
Yeah. Who cares? Her name didn't matter at that point. I don't care.
I just think it's so stupid.
The guess. I thought him guessing Daisy was pretty close. Daisy, Hannah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Like,
it's one of those Brooklyn hipster names.
Yeah. It's like an old-timey name, like Hannah's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
So then afterwards, Hannah was like, well...
And this one you don't see the sex.
Yeah, you don't see the sex. But then she's like getting dressed and she's on his couch. She's like, wow, that was weird. And he's like, yeah, tell me about it. That was pretty weird. And she's like, all right, well, my name is Hannah, by the way. And he's like, oh, cool. Classic name.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, I guess I'll go. And he's like, you don't have to go. You want some steak?
Yeah.
And then he's just like cooking some steaks.
Yeah.
She's like, were you planning on having guests? He's like, no, but I was planning on some steak.
Yeah.
Fucking awful.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's like, stay for steak. And it's one of those things where like, people would never make steak unless it's a party. It's like, no, you've had meals before.
But before this, which I kind of glossed over and forgot, we get the reveal that Joshua was married. He's separated from his wife.
That's while they're cooking steaks. They talk about that.
No, he talks about it on the couch first, though.
Oh, yeah. And then she asks why.
Yeah,
She asks
why at the steaks.
She blames him. She's like, why? What did you do
to make her leave?
And I was like, jeez.
Yeah, right? What a fucking trash monster.
And we didn't mention that he likes to go by Joshua, not Josh.
Yes, because she calls him Josh, and he's like, Joshua.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, why? And he's like, well, there was a guy named Josh that I hated, and I just prefer Joshua.
Yeah. And I was like, all right.
She's
that's
like,
his
okay,
preference.
cool, yeah. I mean, I know
she
guys...
doesn't respect that, but...
No, not at all.
Respect that at all.
Not at all.
She'll pronounce taco with a K, not a C, but Joshua, that's where she draws the line.
Yeah.
But
so they're staking out.
It was so weird that she asked, like, what did you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, the ex-wife is in San Diego.
Yeah, she didn't like living in New York City.
He worked too much.
Didn't pay attention to her needs, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
And at this point, I'm like, okay, this guy's a lonely dude.
Yeah.
Who knows what his, like, sex life is at this point. Some girl just showed up at his door, and he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. I thought we would dive a little more into him and why he's, like, so adamant that she stay.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like, it's so one-sided on her part. Like, she shouldn't really want to stay, and he shouldn't really want her to be there. It's like two things that shouldn't be like, it's like magnets of opposite sides trying to push them together, and I just don't get why. Like, I just need a little more from him than like, oh yeah, I've been separated. Like, he's been separated for probably a little while at this point too. It's not like, and it's hard to tell.
Well, going with the opposites thing, like Hannah just kind of quit her job at a coffee shop. She said, I'm out of here.
Hannah and Marnie are the two people that are allowed to just leave work middle of the day and still have job afterwards. Like, she's the next morning when she's there, she's like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go to work. And the doctor, he's like, no, let's call in sick. She's like,
oh, hold on. We gotta go back.
That's it back. That's when they were on the couch.
We gotta rewind a little bit. Because no, that's the next day. This is still the first day. They had steaks.
Oh, this is still the first.
Then the
day.
guy's like showing her his house.
Okay.
Also, he's a doctor.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, talking about opposites attract. She kind of quit, or maybe not, her job at the coffee shop. She kind of is a dumpy, like, crazy person. Can't get her life together. This dude's a doctor. Has an amazing house. And
she's been telling you about throwing trash in trash cans because it makes her feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's showing her house, and then talking about how he like redid everything, was a fixer-upper, blah, blah, blah. And then Hannah kind of is like, all right, you know what? I think I'm going to go. And he's like, why? You should stay. And she's like, well, I know in my time. I don't want to wear out my welcome. And he's like, no one said that you've worn out your welcome. You should stay. And she goes, okay, I want to try something. How about you beg me to stay?
It's gross.
It was disgusting.
It's gross.
This is the scene that I actually legitimately, like, my stomach started turning because I was like, this is atrocious.
Like, it's so interesting for him to be like, oh yeah, I'll play along with this game. I'm like, no, dude, at this point.
He kind of doesn't. He's just like, please stay. But she's like, no, seriously, beg.
But then he goes in.
I know.
And
like, bro, this isn't Adam. This is a fucking.
Yeah, and why does she? It's like, why does she need him to beg her to stay? And then like, oh, it's just so.
So he begs her to stay. Puts on a very compelling performance.
I mean, he says like, oh, please don't leave. I might kill myself. Like, like going in, like obviously. Tongue in cheek, but like saying stuff that's like, ugh, you just met this lady and she's asked you to beg her to stay. Yeah. You should be like, hey, if you want to stay, stay. Like, if you don't.
And then Hannah's like, oh, wow, this is too stressful. And then they start fucking again. Then it's the next morning. Yeah, you're and then she has to go to work. And he's like, you should call in sick. I'm calling sick. She's like, you can't call in sick. You're a doctor. What happens when doctors call in sick? And he's like, oh, no, like 10 to 20 people die. Yeah. And then they'll have a laugh about that, which is like morbid as fuck, but also like
who knows what kind of doctor he is.
Yeah.
You know? Like
he like a plastic surgeon. Dermatologist.
Yeah. Or just like a regular physician that doctors have days off. Yeah. They go on vacations. Like, it's fine. Who knows what day it was when he was just chilling at home the other day. Making steaks and complaining about coffee.
That's true.
Like, I thought it was like the weekend or something.
I don't know. This is a very mysterious man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if we're going to have a two-person thing, I want to like at least learn a little bit about him and like why he's doing the things he's doing.
Yeah.
And like, I guess, lonely wife's gone. But like, does he not feel like it's weird having this like 24-year-old that's throwing trash away, like just hang out with, like, like you have to, I don't know.
But we also, Hannah's 24. Patrick Wilson's Joshua is 42.
Yeah.
So even more opposites.
Yeah, and it's like not like, and we're getting more ages, but not like it's not like that's gonna be a real relationship later. Like,
I won't say that it couldn't. Like, a 42-year-old could date a 24-year-old, but
I mean, it happened.
Not like this is the most bizarre circumstances for that to start.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't even know anything about her, really.
Yeah, aside from she's a trash monster. Quite literally.
Like, literally a trash monster. And it's just so weird that he's like, you just stay in my place.
Yeah, just stay.
Just stay.
So they stay.
And how do you think you still have your job? You just stormed out.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I think Ray's just going to be like, you saw Ray blow up on Joshua who suggested trash stuff.
Yeah.
You think you're going to walk right back in and Ray's not going to be like, fuck you. Get out of here.
I want to meet Ray's bosses.
Right?
Who hired Ray?
Who's corporate grumpy?
Corporate grumpy.
Mr. Grumpy?
Yeah, Mr. Grumpy.
Mr. Grumpy's not going to be happy about Ray. Any hoozle. Fucking
any hoozles, kerfuffles.
Kerfuffle's an actual word.
I know. I'm just saying you.
And it was perfectly used. Earlier. Right in. BoysWatchingGirlsPodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, write in about that.
Subject, kerfuffle. So this is where we get the infamous naked ping pong scene. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, I was like, naked ping pong after what we've seen is not going to be...
I played naked ping pong with a girlfriend.
I've played like some strip ping pong, and did we talk about this before or off podcast?
Maybe.
Like in high school or something. Like
I played it when I was like living in New York. My girlfriend had a beach house, and they had a ping pong table outside. And we played naked ping pong in the middle of the day.
Ping pong.
I love ping pong.
I don't think she was good at ping pong from what I was seeing.
Yeah, no, she wasn't. I don't know.
But I thought, for some reason, I thought, because I've heard about the ping pong scene long before I've seen the show, I was always thinking it was like going to be more like sweaty and physical and running back and forth.
Yeah, she's kind of gross.
She's kind of just standing there hitting the thing topless, and I'm like, I've seen her topless. Like, this episode though, she is the most naked.
Oh yeah.
That we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like
the naked ping pong scene, taken out of the context of this episode, I'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Why would that break you? But like this whole episode just breaks.
Yeah.
I feel like this is.
It's like at that point you're like, oh wait, she came over, she did this, she had sex with him, begged her to playful begging to stay.
Yeah.
Playing a hooky day, and now they're just gonna hang out and do this now, and you're just like, no, none of this should be happening.
Dude, the things that I said while we were watching this episode were no, and this is awful. I just kept repeating, going back and forth between it. This episode, my sister was a biology major in college, and there is a course that you need to take when you're a biology major called organic chemistry. And organic chemistry is the class that weeds people out, because if you can't get through organic chemistry, you're not going to do biology. And it makes you like rethink what your major is or whatever. This episode is the organic chemistry of girls, I feel like. Because if you can make it through this one, you're just going to stick it out.
Or you might actually love this one, and this might be the one that like keeps you going.
Yeah.
Like
I could see this one being very polarizing.
Yeah. Because
also they fuck on the ping pong table, and you see that.
And I do like the way they cut that in, like it's intercut through the like they're playing ping pong, fucking on a ping pong table and playing pong. Like I don't know if it's like they did that and then went back to playing ping pong, or if, I think the cut is to say, oh, this happened, and it's just like a montage-y kind of thing. Yeah, which I kind of like. And like, what else is he gonna do? He's playing a hooky day. They're just gonna bang.
They're gonna bang.
Yeah.
His dick's gonna look like a fucking boxer at the end of a fight. It's just gonna be beat up, withered, maybe bruised. You know. You know when you just fuck a lot and your dick just looks like slumped over, like worn down, beaten, just like, dude, what are you doing? Stop.
He's got pickle dick. He's just pickled.
Pickle dick. I've never heard that before. That's great.
Yeah, so they do that, and then
it's the scene.
This is more of a breaking point, I think.
Yeah.
For me, like, so is this when they go to she goes to take a shower afterwards? Is this?
No, this is when they're sitting on their patio and she's eating oranges, staring at him like she's gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah, she has like a psychopath stare at him.
He's
like
reading newspaper, she's eating oranges, just like.
And I'm just like, wait, so they're just like really hanging out. Like, what are you doing?
It's like they've been in a relationship for 5 years already.
Yeah. I was like, you're just going to sit there and read the paper and she's going to eat. It looked like she was eating the rind of the orange. Too. Yeah. But it was so bizarre. Like, she's staring at him, and I guess it makes sense for like the later scene that what she's thinking while she's doing that. But.
And he just kind of looks up at her and is like, what? She's like, nothing.
Nothing. And I was like, dude, she might kill you. Like, if this was a movie, this would be like a Fatal Attraction type situation. Like, I could see it, but so then we get to the
shower.
Okay, and he's got a nice like
his shower is amazing.
Nice shower. He's got the temperature thing where he can set up the
He's
hot
like
water,
a bench in the shower.
Yeah, it's a sauna. It's a sauna shower.
Yeah.
And she's in there. She's showering.
She decides to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, so she cranks it up to what, like
120.
Yeah. And then she sits down. I was like, all right, so she's just going to steam. Like, I don't do saunas that much. So I don't know, like, I know the gist of a sauna. I don't know how hot you need it to be or whatever, especially like in this place.
We're not fancy enough for this. This is technology beyond us fancy.
And apparently she's not fancy enough for this.
Nope, she is not.
He comes back later. It's just nothing but steam in the shower.
Yep. Patrick Wilson comes in and he's like, Hannah, you've been in there for a while. Yeah. It's just steam.
You can't see anything.
Opens the door. Hannah's passed out in the sauna.
Yeah.
Just fainted. And he's like, Hannah? Oh, fuck. He's like, shakes her awake. Yeah. And she goes, I fainted. It's like, dude, fuck you.
People that faint don't wake up and just say, I fainted.
Fuck you.
And I was like, dude, this is your moment. This girl almost died in your place.
Yeah.
This would look
You're
terrible.
A doctor.
This would
take her somewhere.
This would look terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like at this point, you're like, maybe we should call it quits. We had a good little day and a half run. Like,
so
get out of here.
She comes out of the shower.
And she has a line where she says, "I thought I was a gummy worm."
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, so
To be legit, she looks like a gummy worm.
she's in the
She's nothing but gummy, dude.
she's in a bathroom, and like he's in bed, and she's like slumped over in his lap.
Yeah.
And he's
like
stroking
petting her hair
or something.
Like, he's like, "Are you feeling all right?
Yeah.
Did that feel better? Are you okay?" She's like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, and this is where this episode, to me, really started to make me sick. It started to make me hate this show and not want to watch it anymore. But, you know, Boys Watching Girls, we got to continue this shit.
You told me during that episode that you would watch the show regardless if the podcast was...
I never would have ever fucking said it, because if it was true, I would have watched this show before.
You just never heard of Girls before.
Yeah, I know.
You're just like, oh my God.
You came to me and you're like, "Hey, you want to watch Girls?" I was like, "Yeah, you want to start a podcast? I got all this equipment."
I think it was the opposite way of that.
So, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
Hannah just starts crying her eyes out. And Patrick Wilson's
Which is so uncomfortable.
just like, "What happened? Are you okay? Is everything all right? Did I say something? Is everything okay?" Because he's like, "Did I do something wrong?"
Dude, his day was going pretty smooth until the girl fainted in his shower and then started bawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes on this kind of long, rambly emo rant about how she just wants to be happy. She's one of my favorite lines from this episode is she goes, "I just want to be happy." And Patrick Wilson goes, "Yeah, so does everybody."
Yeah.
But I understand what she's saying, but I also kind of don't, because she's talking about how she wants to be happy, and I guess she feels like she doesn't deserve it because she wants to do all of these experiences and she doesn't know if she likes them. And it was a very confusing monologue to me.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where it was like, is she talking about having nice things, but she's like slumming it, trying to be like an artist, like doing the starving artist thing to get experiences, to like share other people's experiences for stuff, for her writing, but she's like not being like she doesn't have like a shower like this, or like glasses and dishes, and she mentions like the fridge with the stuff in it.
Yeah,
like
she's not conventionally successful.
Yeah,
she's not successful like the way Patrick Wilson is.
And she's also 24.
Yeah, right.
And but like, you can have those feelings. I'm not to make light of those feelings, but I couldn't tell if she was saying that because of the place she was in or the person she was with.
What I was thinking while she was doing this is she was like, in her mind, this wasn't going to last, and she wanted it to last.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, "This is so nice, and I love this so much, and I know that I'm not going to get to experience this after this is over, and I know that the end is coming."
Yeah.
And also a little bit of like, she feels like she doesn't deserve this life.
Because she's had scenes like this before with... Did she have it with Adam, or did she have it with Black lawyer?
Like, Black college lawyer?
I feel like there was a scene where she like kind of like pre-broke up with someone when they didn't like... I feel like...
I don't know.
I feel like we've had...
I think Adam, maybe.
I feel like we've had scenes similar to like this one where she's kind of not accepting the love and likability that people are giving to her. Yeah, because like Joshua is all about her. Patrick Wilson is all about her. He's like, says that she's beautiful. Was down for her. The pharmacist
right?
back in the hometown was down for her. Yeah.
I don't know what kind
Adam
of
stalker?
magnetism she has that makes people just like all about her.
She's got the Jessa magnetism where everyone in the world sees her and thinks she's the hottest person ever.
You know what the magnetism is? She wrote the show. But he's like, "You're beautiful." And she's like, "Really? You think so?" He's like, "Yeah, you should too." And she's like, "I don't." And he's like, "Why?" She goes, "That's not the feedback that I've gotten." It's like dude,
Adam has done nothing but tell you that you're beautiful.
Yeah.
And Adam has been the guy that you've slept with other than Elijah.
The pharmacist.
Like,
he was also all about it too.
It's always one of those things in like shows like where people like haven't like hooked up with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Then in the show they hook up with like...
Oh, and the black college lawyer.
No, she's had, and the neighbor downstairs.
Oh yeah.
No, she has now had sexual experiences.
Well, that's what the thing is. She claims that she doesn't get like beautiful feedback, but every man in this show is all about her.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't go further with the writing teacher she ran into. I thought that was going to be a hookup situation.
Yeah. Everyone always thinks she's so talented. And the only people, you brought this up, that say that she's ugly and not talented are the girls, her friends.
And mostly Marnie. Yeah. Shoshana has never shared any opinion.
Jessa has a little bit. Jessa's kind of trashed her that day where she and Marnie were making out.
But I think she trashed her in a way, like she trashed her look, not like her like greasy forehead or something, shiny forehead, but she doesn't like trash her and she trashes her way of thinking of life, but she doesn't trash her work or her. And she does trash her parents, but Marnie and Shoshana really those are the only people that we've seen go. Ugh.
Yeah, Marnie, Jessa.
Yeah,
Shoshana hasn't.
Not Shoshana, but Jessa. Yeah.
But so
even Ray hasn't even made any
a man has not said a cross word about her to her in this show that we've seen.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, but anyway, back to this episode.
Yeah, you would feel like this show would have her walking down the street and someone being like, ugh, or something like that. But they don't do that. And that's not how people react to things in real life. It's like how Marnie makes fun of her. She's not going to make fun of her to her face. She was always going to say it on the side. Yeah.
Like to her face, Marnie's the only person that's really kind of trashed her.
I would actually think when she went back home that people would have been like, oh, hey, she was likable in her town. I thought she would have been liked her. I thought she would have been not likable, just and that's why she got out or something, you know?
I don't know, man.
30 Rock did a great episode where Liz Lemon goes back. She's like, I don't want to go back to this high school reunion because everyone was so mean to me. And she gets there, and everyone's like, no, we were afraid of you. And they cut back to the flashback they were showing, and it shows her being a jerk to people. Someone comes up how's the thing you're working on? And it shows Liz Lemon upset, the girl's being snarky. But no, the girl was just literally asking her, and then she said something smart alecky back to her. So they were all hating her because of her attitude. And it was oh yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a clever little twist on that. But
how did we get here?
Just because her not feeling like she deserved to be loved.
Right. So anyway, then she says that she asked the guy to punch her in the chest and come on that spot.
Yeah. And I was like, is that Adam?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was like, it had to be Adam, right?
It had to be Adam. Then she talks about how she might have got molested. She said that she got molested, told her mom. Her mom didn't believe her, and she was like, and maybe I was making it up. And I was like, what?
This is one of those things that was where we probably will start having to dive into Lena Dunham's backstory in real life. Because I definitely remember her writing something about her doing something with her sibling or sister.
Or cousin or something.
Yeah, that wasn't that was really off-putting.
Yeah.
And then I heard this line in here, and I was like, oh, is that a reference?
That's where my mind went to.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she also said that she was molested. I mean, she probably was. She probably did say that.
I don't. You mean in the episode or in real life?
In real life.
Yeah. See, I just want to do a little more backstory before.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not sure,
but I do remember a situation with a sister or cousin being a thing that came out, and then hearing this line, I'm like, wait, is that just taken from that part of her life? You know,
yeah. So then after this long...
And then he tells her after she says
that's true.
He tells her, when I was 9, I let a boy give me a hand job.
Yeah. And she's like, well, that's different because you asked for it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well.
Okay. This guy just came out with a really big...
Yeah. That was a big thing for him.
Yeah. Something like this happens in the show Insecure also.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where a girl's dating a guy and the guy admits to having gotten a blowjob from a guy once, but he's not gay, and then, she's can't wrap her head. She can't get past that.
Dude. So this is the part where she asks Patrick Wilson, Joshua, if I keep saying Joshua because it's coming up. You'll see why in like 2 seconds.
Because it's his name.
Because it's his name, and he specifically
requests it.
asked her to call him Joshua.
Your name, you go by Joe, but if you wanted to go by Joseph, I wouldn't
Yeah.
start calling you Joe.
If I introduce myself to you as Joseph, you'd be like, all right, Joseph.
And that would probably make the thing of like saying Joe just being lazy and wanting to get short. And then if you're like, I prefer Joseph, I'd be like, noted.
Yeah.
Like if you prefer Thomas over Tom, I'm going to call you Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem with my name. It's one syllable. Just.
So she asked him if she thinks he's crazy. He says no. And then she's like, you know what? I think you're right. I'm not crazy. I think I'm just too smart. I read this thing by Fiona.
And too sensitive.
And too sensitive. And I read this thing by Fiona Apple that said that she's not crazy. Everybody thinks that she's crazy, but she just wants to feel all the feelings. And Joshua's just like, okay, sure. And then he's just kind of like listening to her and being like, okay.
I mean, she's going on. Like she's having like an epiphany.
Yeah.
Monologue moment, like where she's just like venting this is like something that I don't know who she would vent this to other than a professional, like, because you're not going to tell this to people you know. Maybe
your best friend, but Marnie, no.
Yeah, this is not, Marnie wouldn't take this.
Yeah. I'm sure Marnie has taken it, and that's why she got kind of fed up with her. Yeah,
but Marnie's her own thing, and we don't get any of them, and this is all just
Hannah unloading on Joshua.
Just unloading on this guy.
And then so she's like kind of getting mad at his reactions because he's just kind of like, okay, I hear you. I understand. Like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, why are you fucking just saying okay? Like, why don't you like ask me more about something?
Well, she said, you begged me to tell you my feelings.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
And I was like, when did he ask you? Like, you took a shower and then he asked.
Fainted. He was petting you.
He said, does this feel good?
You started crying. He goes, are you okay? And then you just go for it.
Yeah. It was like, he never asked you to like, and then she goes on, well, you never told me about your ex-wife and like how it happened. You're just like, oh, things happened and you broke up. And like, you didn't go into detail. I'm like, well, he was going to go into full detail with you about this?
Well, this is when I said, this was kind of like a callback, I feel like, to when she was asking Adam. I was like, well, you didn't ask.
Yeah.
But then she did kind of ask.
Yeah, but she asked, like, what happened. It's not like, what happened, let's sit down and talk about it for an hour. It's like, oh, you were married? Oh, you're not? You're kind of separated? She left? He's not going to go into full, like, they're still on first date level stuff. Like, they're not, like, opening up. And she's bringing it to, like, we've been together for a year.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just so strange that, like, that happened that way.
Well, during this monologue, she mentions, like, yeah, you never told me about why your wife left to go to San Francisco. And Joshua, under his breath, goes, San Diego, which shows that she wasn't listening to him.
She doesn't care. And I think the only thing she wanted really out of this was, and she brings it up, I think she just wants the story.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, this isn't going to last, but at least I'll have a story from it. Mm-hmm. And unless I hear more about the stuff that he's telling, then I won't really have a story.
Yeah,
but she's just
you fucked a guy.
But she's just going to spin it through her filter and make it into whatever. Like you said, like, she doesn't even remember he said San Diego, not San Francisco.
Yep.
Like,
and then she caps this off by calling him Josh, and he goes, it's Joshua.
Yeah.
Joshua.
Yeah. It's like
and then she just kind of looks like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No. Yeah. She's like, oh, what did she say?
I think she did say something like, it's the same name, like, or like, I don't care.
3 little letters. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, with 2 extra letters.
Just
I don't
completely disregarding his requests and agency.
Simple requests.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, why is she being such a, like, at the end of that whole thing, first it's like all about like her and her feelings, and I don't want to take away from any of that, but then at the end she starts getting like aggressive towards him, like he's the fault.
I literally wrote, she's being mad manipulative, because after that she's like, all right, do you want me to go now? And he's like, no, you can stay.
Great acting by Patrick Wilson in this one. Like, when he's like, I want you to stay.
And
like,
she goes,
and he
doesn't sound like you want me to stay.
And,
he just like grabs her by the arm and goes, I want you to stay.
Yeah. And this all happens like after he says he has to go to sleep, or because
because he has to go to work.
She's like, you're going to go to work?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, And he's like, yeah. Like, it wasn't like he was going to take off.
It wasn't like he was quitting his job.
And like, we're just going to stay in this apartment eating steaks and banging on a ping pong table. And she's like, she seems deeply hurt that he's going to go to work the next day and like has to go to sleep. Yeah. And just like, and then that's when she starts saying, like, are you going to stay? You're right. And his delivery of those lines of like, I want you to stay, it's just so perfect. Like, no. It was perfect. The look on his face was so like, I don't want you to stay, but you're forcing me to say that I want you to stay. So here you go. And the words want you to stay. And the words come out genuine, but the look behind the eyes say no way. Even the words are genuine, but the way that he's saying them doesn't sound genuine. Like, it just is perfect. Yeah, it's just done really well. And like, I don't want to take away from her feelings or anything, but for me, and like people that would feel the way that she does. But for me, having seen her try to have sex with her boss at one point and then threaten to like sue him and extort him for money, I'm like, I don't really trust Hannah in this situation. No. I feel like she's a little unstable and I just feel unsafe for him. I don't know why. He put himself in a weird spot, bringing this girl that he didn't know, like. And it's not like he met her at a bar and they went home and like she hung out and like she stuck around for a day. You know, like that stuff happens. You know, this is like a random girl that was throwing trash in your house, and then like you hooked up with her, and then you were like, no, you stick around. No, you stick around again. Yeah. Oh, take the day off. Like she was about to leave and go to work the next day, but you, in his loneliness or whatever it was, just wanted her around some more. Yeah. And it's not like, because I don't believe that he likes her at all. Like, I don't think enough. Yeah, they do. Like, we don't see it, though. We don't see, like, the building of their quote-unquote relationship. Yeah, there wasn't even, like, when he invited her in, it was interesting. But, like, when they are in the kitchen before she tells him he offers her lemonade, he does not make any gestures to, like, kind of give off a vibe that he's into her at all. Yeah. Besides the invite in. Yeah. And then she kisses him. I was kind of on her side at the start of this. At the start, because, we're artists. I do comedy. You're in the film industry. We know those feelings of like worthlessness and like, what are we even doing? And just like all of those crazy emotions and just unloading sometimes. But then when she starts to flip it around on Patrick Wilson and make it personal, who's done nothing but like be supportive, told her she's beautiful, found her passed out, he's taking care of her. It's like he welcomed you. If you take it like not in a sexual way, he welcomed you in his home. Yeah. Made you dinner. Yeah, dude. And just like, it's been a gracious host. Yeah. It's been nothing but nice to you. He has one request. It's call him Joshua. Just one request. That's all it is. And she wants more. She's like, beg me to stay. She just kind of like belittles him about it. Beg me to stay. Belittles him, his name. Can't remember the little bit of details that he's told her about. Like. And that's the thing about her. Like, that's the. Did I say after we watched the episode, I was like, I could see not wanting to go on this journey. Or was that at the beginning of this podcast? I just could see like not wanting to go on this journey with this girl anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Like, this is where I could see people jumping off the boat. Like, it's hard for me to be on Hannah's side. Like, and we've done the ranking of the girls, and like Hannah's been like floating up there and she'll drop. Yeah. But she's been like 2, 3 consistently. Yeah. Sometimes 1. Yeah, she's been one more times than she's been 4. Yeah, one's like a lot when Shoshana's not there. Yeah. Oh man, the Shoshana turn's gonna be dark. I know. But Hannah in this one, I'm like, dude, why am I rooting for you to succeed or care? Why do I care at this point? Like, because the episode ended and I didn't know how I was supposed to feel. That was the thing that was. Well, before I'm just saying the feeling. I'm not diving into the end, but I'm just saying that's the feeling I got when the episode ended. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. How I'm supposed to feel after this episode. As soon as this episode ended. Well, let's just really close to it. Yeah. So she stays at Patrick Wilson's place, Joshua's. He's at work. She just like goes, makes herself breakfast, coffee. She's eating it in his fucking patio, drinking coffee, and then she just is like, I thought that she was gonna rob him.
Because this reminded me.
I didn't know. Well, you at first you said while we're watching it, like, is she going to be there when he gets home?
That's what I was also
and I was
worried
like,
about.
oh man, I was like, oh yeah, she doesn't have a roommate anymore, so no one's looking for her.
Yeah,
she walked out of a coffee shop and has not been in touch with anyone since.
We don't see any text messages coming in or anything.
Yeah.
So, she's there. I thought she was going to rob him because this harkened back for me to the very first episode when she stayed at the hotel with her parents and then she took the money from the housekeeper. Yeah. So I was like, she's going to rob this guy.
Yeah.
Especially when she was walking out to go leave.
It looked like she was going to leave. And
then she turned back around. I was like, here she comes. She's going to fucking rob him. But no.
I wouldn't have thought she was going to rob him. I would have thought she would have taken like one thing, but they never talked about one thing that she would have been like, oh, I'm taking this.
Yeah,
as
that's
like a
true.
souvenir. But the thing that she does take is the one thing that's been talked about.
And what does she take? She takes out his trash. Wow.
Tying it all back together.
Then she just walks off into Brooklyn. And
I will say she made the bed though too.
She did make the bed.
Yeah.
And that's this episode.
So she drops the trash off and we just see her walking down the street. And I just didn't know what I was supposed to take from that.
Likability ranking, Hannah's below Patrick Wilson.
But Patrick Wilson he gained more likability at the end when he was being like...
Well, he never did anything wrong. It was just he was creepy. It was like something about him is creepy.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen him in horror movies. He's kind of got like a creep guy face. I kept saying he looked like Michael Keaton. I think in the face he does.
Maybe.
But,
I just didn't... For me, I just didn't understand, like, how... Like, if he was just... I don't know. I just couldn't get on his side of what he was doing. And then Hannah... If they didn't have that scene at the end and Hannah just, like, hung out there and then, like, left the next day, and it was just like, what was that slice of life? You know? Like...
Yeah.
Because that really is something I would see happening. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to work this one. She's like, oh, yeah, I should probably go to Grumpy's and see if I still have a job. And then, like, life just goes on. It's not as dramatic, but that's how I could see that situation playing out. But when you throw the Hannah-ness into it, at the end, you get, it's just, I don't know.
I want to raise one question, kind of, or, like, statement, or I don't even know.
Yeah.
A theory. So, you know how, like, people that watch the show think it's like this really feministy kind of thing, and like if you don't like it, if like you're anti-women or something.
I don't know if this show had that.
Because I was gonna say,
like, this show doesn't have the like.
If that's true, like none of these people are likable.
I think that stuff like that happens. That stuff that is more told like with like the Ghostbusters remake, where they're like, well, you don't like this movie, then you just don't like women. It's like, no, I can not like the movie and not be. But there are trolls and people that are just anti. Like, it's the vocal minority that is like that for those. But like, you should be allowed to not like something for just not liking it. Yeah,
I mean, that's what I was thinking at the end of this episode. I was like, how am I supposed to enjoy this? Like, this was just like such a shitty. She was so shitty throughout this episode.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's just not a good... And it's like, she's in the level anti-hero, like, but not in a way that's, like, compelling to watch. Like, you're not, like, watching Breaking Bad and, like, Sopranos or Mad Men, and you're like, God, Don Draper, you womanizing alcoholic mess. And you're just like, but...
Do you think that's compelling because we're men and we're watching men?
I'm trying to, you know what, let's think. Are there any, what are the female anti-hero? Scandal is a female anti-hero.
I never watched that.
And that show is like, that show's so over the top at times.
I feel like that was kind of more like soap opera-y.
Yeah, I think it started out a little more grounded and then it just got like crazy. Like she's dating the president.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, she's having an affair with the president and like getting kidnapped and terrorists, and he's faking wars for it. It gets big. But I'm trying to think, like, are there shows with like we're talking about that have anti-hero? But she's not, I don't feel like the structure of this is so like like it's just like she's not like, even in Breaking Bad, like just to go back to one of the more classic ones, like you're following his story, but you don't have to agree with what he's doing. But you're compelled by what he's doing, and you know his motivation for doing what he's doing.
His motivation is like, wasn't it for his family and stuff? Like, I don't know what her motivations are.
And then it's just like, I don't know what more did she want out of this Patrick Wilson meetup? Like, she got way more than saying, hey, I dumped trash in your house. Like, you got a steak dinner, you got, like, to hook up with this guy, you got, like, an interesting little piece of, like, she's like, oh, I need these experiences, but I feel like I just didn't understand what her monologue was saying at the end.
Me neither. That was the most difficult part for me. Yeah. Like, I just didn't know what she was saying. Yeah. I know that it was supposed to be, like, kind of, like, poignant and it's supposed to be making a point about who she is as a person, but it was just meandering, and I just don't know what she was trying to say. It kind
of bounced all over the place, and then it ends with her just, like, ripping the guy that she's with, like, as if it's his fault.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but, yeah. That's why I just didn't know what to take away at the end, because it ends, and I'm like, am I supposed to be feeling sad for her? Am I supposed to be like, because she walks away almost like she walked away in the pilot. Yeah. Where she, like, steals the 20.
And, see, that's what I was saying. That's why I thought she was going to...
Is her throwing the trash out, her unloading her baggage and her trash? And, like, is that supposed to be that metaphor?
Is she the trash, and she's supposed to be a treasure or something?
It's like he sees her as a treasure, but she just sees herself as trash. Like,
this one was hard to digest.
Yeah. Because, every time something's happening, like, no, this shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how it's supposed to feel at the end of it.
Yeah, me neither.
And, and this classically did one of those things that, like, the episode before it sets up something super big.
Yep.
And you just don't follow up with it.
Yep. No idea what happened with Jessica's husband, Marnie and Thomas John and Charlie and fucking
Audrey. And
Shoshana and Ray.
I guess they're cool. I thought, like, Ray flipping out in the beginning, I thought it might have been like, ooh, something's rocky with their relationship. That's why he's flipping out. But no, he just flips out on people.
That's Ray.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to, I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like this episode, that, like, it deserved a big... You know,
told you it's gonna get one of those. So like you were saying though before, I don't think this show is one of those shows that people don't watch because they don't like women or, like, don't want to see girls in, like, a show or something. Because, like, like, Sex and the City did fine. Like, I don't know what the demographics were for that, but, like, no one was like.
Well, this episode in particular. Sorry to interrupt you, but this episode in particular just it wasn't funny.
And it doesn't have to. I mean, it's a drama. It doesn't have to be. Not every episode has to be funny.
I know, but, like, that really goes a long way in terms of making people likable and making the show enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, this was not enjoyable.
No. Yeah. And it's weird because I have two people in my life that have said opposite things about this episode.
But I'm not taking away from the performances.
No. I'm saying, like, there's people that like this episode and find this episode enjoyable too.
Yeah, I feel like this is like, Oscar movies are always very difficult to watch, and like, they're very emotional and dark a lot of times.
Some of the prestige films are just like, you'll watch it once and you'll appreciate it, but it's not something you want to watch again.
You'll watch it and you'll be like, wow, that was amazing, but I would never want to watch that. This is an Oscar episode.
Oscar-worthy.
Like, it was
Emmy-worthy.
It was put together well. The performances were great.
Did the show win any Emmys ever?
I don't know.
We have to look that up.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I would never want to watch this again. Would
you watch episode 6 from season 1 where she goes back home before this one? Is this your least favorite episode?
Yeah, I think this one's taking the cake because it was just so shitty. Like, she was such a bad person towards the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm. And she's been a bad person before, but it's never been like complete trajectory to bad. It's been like, okay, that's a bad thing, but I kind of get it.
It was emotionally manipulative and just it was insidious. Patrick Wilson was an Insidious. You gonna let that bomb sit?
You're a comedian. You can bomb once or twice.
If you guys could have saw Vance's face, he was just like, no.
You did your own drum roll.
It was, that was gross. It was
from
gross
the
to
moment
watch.
she said, beg me to stay.
Yeah.
That's when it was like the start of the downfall.
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
It was gross.
I think we said that out loud when that happened.
Again.
Yeah.
It was gross. I felt trapped in the house with them. Mm-hmm. I felt like I couldn't leave. Mm-hmm. It gave me anxiety. I didn't like this episode. Yeah. I think this one's the worst. Yeah, the home one wasn't as bad. Mm-hmm. Because it didn't like make me anxious. Yeah. Like that one had like the dad falling in the shower and like you could see her being a good daughter and trying to help her family and like see where she comes from. This one, it was just like, no, dude, no.
You know what's interesting? I'd only ever seen one episode of this show before, and I think it's like a season 5. I have no idea, but it's also one of the episodes where it's just Hannah and another guy. And that's the one episode I've seen. It was like really big in the news at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm curious to see what was being talked about for this one episode. I'm not going to talk about the episode.
Spoiler alert.
I couldn't even tell you what episode it is, actually. I know what happened.
I'm sure once we get to it, you'll be like, oh, it was this one.
No, I mean, I'll know the episode. I just like don't know what frame of mind she's in at this point. I don't know where they are. What her outside life is, but I'm just letting you know there's another episode coming up where it's just her and a person.
Well, your wife was right, Vance. This one gets 2 thumbs down from old Joey boy.
Yeah, I could see the episode breaking, not the ping pong. The ping pong was fine.
But anyway, that about wraps it up. Any final thoughts? We think we got it all out?
I think we got it all out. The interesting thing, these episodes don't blend into the next one, so the next episode won't matter. None of this will matter for the next episode, I feel like.
This guy will never get talked about in this show
Unless Jessa
again.
marries him. Unless Jessa marries this dude in 2 episodes. That's what's going to happen. We'll be like, oh, man, that guy was crazy. We'll never see Patrick Wilson again. Jessa just shows up to dinner with him. That's what the show is. It sets up a crappy guy character, and Jessa just swoops in for the kill.
All right, everybody.
You're just using me for the stakes. At least we finished on it.
Thank you. Thank you for ending this shit on a laugh. Anyway, that's it for this episode, everybody. Stay tuned for the next episode 16, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Boys. So.
Well, and that's going to be perfect for this podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be like all about us.
Boys watching boys.
Boys watching girls, baby. Boys watching girls is boys. All right, later, everybody.
You know, I was reaching for all this stuff, but all I really needed was to look at someone and be like, oh, that person wants to be there after I'm dead. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm a crazy girl?
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I wasn't thinking that.